lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
And this is the most studious that we will ever see Hanok Young when he is in the office of Joe Good. Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Mike. How are you?
Good, good. It's we have our grandson here, so I'm chasing a
Wonderful.
13-year-old, so we're both pretty exhausted.
I can only imagine. I can
Oh
only
yeah. Uh, so a lot going on right now. You're in the nation of Texas, heading out soon to Florida,
Yeah.
and you the theme that you have right now, probably for your tour, is it's hot.
Well, you know what? It's funny. People say, like, we really appreciate you coming to our congregation. It's so good to see you again. And I said, this proves how much I really care about you. I said, really? What do you mean? I said, who on earth would come to places like Texas and Louisiana in the
Yeah,
summer if you
yeah.
really, really aren't crazy nuts cuckoo about someone?
Yes, that's so true, so true. So, looks like things are heating up in Israel. A terrorist stabbing at a mall that I've been to numerous times. Used to take the tours by there. Would go and stop. They actually had kanafi, of course, so that's going to be a stop for me. But I mean, Hanok, it's just kind of. I know you got a lot to talk about, but that's just was really out of the box for me to see this morning. For
In
that's that
Carmiel?
area, you know.
Yeah. Um, Very unusual. It is up north.
Mhm.
Um, not north as in the Golan Heights, but north of the Galil, let's say, the Galilee. But this is par for the course. The thing that's fascinating is people reading the Israeli news, and it does shock me, honestly, how many people I've encountered who
Mhm.
ask me for my insights because they do not read the Israeli news.
Yeah.
And if they watch something, it'll be TBN or a messianic oriented
Mhm.
broadcast. And I keep saying, why don't you just, I mean, watch whatever else you want,
Yeah.
but why don't you just read the news,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Israeli news?
Yeah.
It's not CNN.
Yeah.
Anyway, so having said that, it's almost impossible to tell what's real.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about statements that people make. Are the IDF generals saying we're okay if Hamas stays in power, let's end this war? Or is it for internal consumption in Israel? Is the press release, is the unnamed source for external consumption?
Mhm.
Is it a warning to Iran? Is it not a warning to
Mhm.
Iran? Is it a signal to America? So people are getting really, really confused.
Well, I can see why.
Yeah. So again, I remind people to just stay focused on things. Everyone wants to know, when is full scale massive war going to break out with Hezbollah? And my answer to that, based on what I can see and based on my contacts and what people have shared with me, is it's basically within two.
Mm.
But we don't know if that's 2 days,
Yeah.
2 weeks, 2 months. It's not going to be 2 years,
Yeah.
unless there is some political situation that is pulled off that once again kicks the can of the major war down the
Mhm.
road. Now, there are reports that the IDF does need a major retooling.
Mm.
From the time when Ehud Barak was prime minister in the early 2000s, a decision was made that we didn't need as many tank divisions. We
Yeah.
didn't need as many artillery divisions. We could win everything via air power, which was proven false in the Second Lebanon War in
Oh, yeah.
2006.
Sure.
But we didn't fully retool. So we'll see. We also have a desperate manpower shortage in Israel.
Mhm.
And also people want to know, well, I hear the Haredim are gonna be drafted.
Mhm.
Don't bet the farm on this one, kids. There'll be some political manipulations, things going on. And of course, things here in America have gotten far more complicated since last week's debate.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And to say that that doesn't impact on what we do in Israel is an incredibly naive and foolish comment.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, what, I mean, I can't imagine how Biden could possibly win the election after that debate performance.
Yeah.
And you know, we could talk about it, but it's not the theme of what it is. And the fact that Jill Biden is one of those calling the shots, and the most unsettling of all the clips that I saw was the one where at a rally afterwards, she says to him, Joe, you did great. You answered all the
Mm-hmm.
questions. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was like a mother talking to her kindergartner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, really past the age of 6, I don't know if you could get away with speaking to a child like that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But the question is, so what does this mean for Israel? Meanwhile, we have increasingly are having pressure on the one hand to call for new elections.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the current coalition is 64 seats. So if one of the ultra-Orthodox parties, Shas, let's say, pulls out of the coalition, the government falls.
You're done. Yeah.
And everyone's saying, well, with the draft, you know, they'll walk out. You'll notice they haven't walked out
Mm-hmm.
because it's all let's make a deal. For those of an age to remember that TV show, it's all about making a deal. And right now, they are, you know, sort of plugged into the golden calf, and you know they're milking the system.
Mm-hmm.
And just because the high court has ruled that they have to be drafted and subsidies to their yeshivot, their institutions of study, can be cut back, doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's astounding, really.
So I see that, of course, there were 2 soldiers that fell this past week in Israel, but that news on the other side was, what was it, 900? Uh, is believe it about 900 of the
Terrorists,
terrorists, the
yeah,
Palestinian terrorists, were killed.
yeah. The Hamas terrorists from Gaza, yeah, and again, when the IDF quotes casualty numbers, these are real bodies identified with weapons fighting against us.
Hmm.
This isn't like the Gaza Health Ministry, you know, with their projection of, you know, how many people were killed. And it's so astounding that the UN in the last few weeks has had to walk back those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Explain to me hopefully you saw the report come out this morning about the desalinization and how that is actually going to be not run by Israel or the IDF, desalinization and the electricity grid in Gaza.
No, I mean, you have to remember I'm an hour behind you.
Oh,
So
that's right.
I haven't gone through all our news yet.
Okay. So the report was that the desalinization was going to be run by, I think, as a UN or some humanitarian cause, and this is going to be bringing in water and stuff. It's just crazy to me, Hanok, that I mean, you know, I'm not trying to point fingers at the Israel government because, you know, every government in the world has its major issues, but it just seems like there's not a backbone to win. It's like, okay, we're going to do this, but yet we're going to release, like, you know, this person over here. Oh, wait a minute, that person got released. How did that happen? It's just like little crazy stuff.
It's a tremendous, not inefficiency, but a system that doesn't work. I mean, people, and this is the one consistent thing about this trip. I mean, this schedule I've been on has been grueling. I haven't even been in America I've been in America 2 weeks and 2 days, and I've already spoken twice in Kentucky, 3 times in Ohio, um, Louisiana, and already 4 times here in Texas. And one question that I keep getting from people, the one thing that I share, that I present, that has gotten pushback, it's when I make a disparaging remark about Bibi Netanyahu.
Mhm.
And then when I provide the facts of why I believe that, people seem shocked, but they don't change it's kind of like, and then there's the quick retort, which reminds me of like being 11 or 12 years old in the schoolyard of like, yeah, well, who else is there? It's like, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned names. I said, well, in the Likud party alone, you have Yoav Galant, you have Nir Barkat, and they're like, who? Who? And I'm like, yeah, you don't know these guys, but they exist.
Hmm.
Yoav Galant is our Minister of Defense. He's the one on the 8th of October, 9th of October, 10th of October said, we need to hit Hezbollah first.
Hmm.
Netanyahu made the decision, no.
Hmm.
And what we have, Blinken said it the other day, and I hate to have to quote him because he's totally right. He said Israel gave up its sovereignty in the north, and they have hit us. Hezbollah has hit us with more missiles than all of Hamas. They're far more dangerous, and
And
we
then you
should
have
have handled it first.
and then you have areas like Nablus, where
Shem,
yeah, Shkem, where a man is speaking to a tour group, a group of hikers, and is shot for pointing out the tomb of Joseph down below. That must have given you a really nice feeling, since you've been there, probably standing on that same exact spot, explaining the same exact thing.
more than a few times. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's you know the parallels with the Yom Kippur War, which on the secular calendar began on October 6th,
Hmm.
1973, the failures of military intelligence, the arrogance, the being unprepared, having doctrines that didn't fit the reality, not adapting, and then, of course, countered by the incredible heroism of our soldiers.
Hmm.
We have leadership that needs to go, military leadership, political leadership, and this is going to be the big thing over the next number of years.
Yeah. We do know that life is going to go on in Israel.
Absolutely.
As I saw a report yesterday, and we were able to help out. I just sent some funds this morning to Itamar with the soldiers, coming home for just a short amount of time. There is a baby boom happening in the city of Itamar. And yeah, so we were able to help out with some needs there because, the truth is that a lot of these people, the soldiers that were there, the reservists, they were, they were not at work. The economy, I just don't understand how the economy is even. I don't understand the economy of the world still holding together, but much less Israel. I mean, how are people making a living on a day-to-day basis is beyond me.
Okay. Many of us are not.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah.
prices just went up on July 1st.
Oh,
So everything from basic transportation, the buses, the light rail have gone up. Basic commodities, milk, butter, eggs, things like that, have all gone up.
so
Uh,
was this a was this a tax basically a
No,
taxing? How do
no,
you
no.
say, when you're saying transportation, the trains and milk, that is somehow, that doesn't equate in my, how does that happen? Was it just a,
Okay, the major dairy companies,
okay,
announced a price increase.
okay,
So there that's one element. And the other thing is, whatever it is, our Ministry of Transportation announced that there would be an increase
okay.
in public transportation.
So it just
Now,
all coincided. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's not unusual on July 1st, kind of like that's when it happens, but right now it hurts particularly hard.
Hmm. So we have mattress sales, you have price increases. Okay. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
st-
it's kind of funny the way that works out.
it is. I mean, I've never been able to understand, even in good times, how the average Israeli is able to survive on a monthly basis anyway. When we
It,
look at and you have actually said it's kind of like being in DeRidder, having and taking your DeRidder income and living in New York City.
well,
That's
what I
kind of how
what I
Israel
had
is.
said was Louisiana and Mississippi, but
Yeah,
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 it's the, and what's funny is I got a WhatsApp message from a buddy of mine, a tour guide, and said, Hanoch, you've been in America over 2 weeks already, and I haven't seen an influx of tourism. Like, could you like get on the stick and start sending the people? Um, Delta and United continue to fly to Israel. Um, I don't want to go into the details now and distract us, but Ben Gurion Airport was a mob scene when I flew out.
mhm,
Um, People continue to come to volunteer. There is a really strong heightened awareness amongst the Jewish communities within the United States, an awareness and an attachment to Israel that you'd have to go back to the 1967 war, the Six-Day War, to see that kind of reaction in America. Of course, the reaction is based not just upon love for Israel, but the fact that it is dangerous to be a readily identifiable Jew in the United States of America today. And you can be an elderly Jew and be assaulted in the library in Asheville, North Carolina.
yeah.
I mean, this is all over the place.
Yeah, one of our, I just got a text just a little while ago that we're going to be sending a card. Somebody's bringing a card to Life Assembly this Shabbat. We're just going to sign it and send it up there as just a gesture of support.
That's great. That's great.
But it's one thing when this happens in New York or Chicago. When it happens in Asheville, um, it's like, wait a minute, that's just down the road.
Well, it's interesting. There have been 106 American colleges and universities that have
Mhm.
pro-Hamas encampments, and it's not pro quote unquote Palestine, you know,
Yeah,
Narnia, which never existed, but rather pro-Hamas, and they fly Hamas flags, they fly Hezbollah flags, and we're talking about Asheville, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. This is all over. There is no, here in Texas, you and I know a lot of people that support Israel, but University of Texas, Austin had the same
oh
thing.
yeah.
This is, and America is next. And that's the thing that's scariest that people don't see.
Hmm.
This is not something, we in Israel are merely the canary in the mine shaft. We're the ones that get to experience it first. This whole Islamo-Nazi, Antifa, leftist stuff. I mean, death to America. They're American students on American college campuses in 2024. People can say the writings of Osama bin Laden really enlighten them.
Yeah. Um, would the I see that there was an article about many Jewish students are leaving these Ivy League colleges. Um,
That remains to be seen.
yeah,
You know, there's been talk of it, but I know that in Florida, right near the beginning of this, Governor DeSantis put something in motion, making it easier for Jewish American students to transfer from colleges. And the
mhm,
last statistic that I read was that 7 college students actually took that up.
wow. In North
So
Carolina, there is a bill on
yes,
anti-Semitic anti-Semitic bill on
yeah,
the desk of the governor right now. And our governor here, though North Carolina tends to be a very conservative place, there's a lot of very liberal pockets, and so I think he's going to have the pressure. He's going to have to sign this.
yeah.
But
So and
legislation doesn't stop things.
no, no, but here's a live example. So in every state, if something happens that people like or don't like, they need to send an email to their
Mhm.
officials. If there's a major college, not that there would be a minor college, but if there's a university that has these encampments, people of that state, whatever state it is, have to contact the school, their board of governors, their 2 senators, their congressional representative, whoever the governor, they've got to spend maybe 15 minutes a week. That's all. Send out emails. Could be form notes
Hmm.
because these are all tallied. If the White House does something good, send an email.
Mhm. That wouldn't take long.
No,
Uh, if they did something good, that wouldn't take long. So do you see that the possibility that as this plays out, um, will Aliyah increase from the United States, or do you think it's just kind of
okay,
you use the canary in
mine
the
shaft.
mine shaft? This may be the
Okay,
frog in the pot.
I will tell you a couple of potential scenarios. Aliyah will increase, but I will separate the two things. From the United States, yes, but not as much as we would think.
Hmm.
We'll know better in the next couple of months. Again, people with children tend to go on Aliyah at the time of the summer. In other words, get the school year finished with the
Yeah.
kids. Again, I was reading a thing that French doctors, Jewish French doctors, are looking to go to Israel in large numbers. We'll see. I am always hopeful, but it's just something that really isn't high on the agenda here in America.
Mm.
And I mean, honestly, I don't understand why not, because the handwriting is on the wall. This is the handwriting is on the wall. This is kind of like Babylon. The handwriting is on the wall, guys.
Yeah. Well, you're probably feeling the same thing that Jabotinsky felt when he was going around Europe and telling people to go to
Yeah,
leave then.
get
So
out, get out.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
a fire is coming. But
yeah.
the 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 thing is, and again, it really has to do with the fact that the vast majority of Jewish Americans are Americans who are Jewish.
Hmm.
You know, we're not a separate group, you know, within, you know, it's not a question of, you know, what we used to be said that we had dual loyalty. We're loyalty to America and
Hmm.
to Israel. No, those who felt that way about Israel went on Aliyah.
There you go. Well, you're off to Florida in just a
Well,
short
that's it.
time.
Yeah, yeah, next week. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
finally, going to be in North Carolina. And in addition to the schedule of Hanok Young,
yes.
is just hot off the press. This is the first time it's ever been announced. Is Hanok will be at on Sunday evening. Um, That is the 28th of July. He will be at Moss Memorial Baptist Church in Hayesville, North Carolina.
It's all Greek to me, but
Might be to me
but
too.
thanks very much for getting that for me, Mike. I
All
really
right, yeah,
so
we'll be
that's number 18 right now.
there. You go. Well, you got a couple of maybe another edition along the way. So, all
Wow.
right, hey, take care, be safe, and we
Thanks,
will
Mike.
talk next
You
week.
too. Take care, bro. Bye-bye.